All right, friends. Today I'm going to talk about broadening your shoulders. And this focuses on an article from Strength and Health in February 1958 from none other than John C Grimek. Now, the difference between this and any other shoulder article that you might run into is he's kind of trying to talk about expanding the actual, like expanding your rib cage side to side or up at the top your clavicle, which he does say you probably can't do it much after your mid-20s, but still to try it. But you're not going to, he says you're not going to get even an inch would be a pretty massive expansion in terms of bone. But so the way he's talking of doing this is through breathing style dumbbell work, which is going to be described here in the video on the text boxes, just like you would do heavy deep breathing on dumbbell pullovers to expand the rib cage, kind of front to back, more or less. And it's I think breathing is kind of overlooked a lot in today's training. But as he describes, so like as you're bringing the dumbbells back in that standing fly one, you're breathing deeply, bringing them back, and then exhaling as you bring them forward. That kind of thing. He does like training from different angles, as you can see, like when he's leaning over here. And there's also there's a picture later on in the video where he's on an inclined bench, kind of sideways, doing that same move. So this is the description of this exercise that's shown right on the front of the article. And it is kind of like, it's like doing a fly or a cable crossover, except you're standing up. So that's a little bit unusual. Now, there's no doubt that Grimek had a pretty mean pair of delts to go along with the rest of his physique. He did like training with dumbbells a lot. I didn't do a video on this particular article, but I did do a couple of, back last year, early in 23, I did one about, actually two in a row, about his history, how he got started, and he got started really young, and mostly with weightlifting. As I mentioned here, about his rise to fame, did those two back last year, like I said, and then September of this year, or, well, not this year, last year, just barely, we did this, covered this with a video with this article, Should You Train Heavy? And, it was mostly, if you're advanced, then yeah, you should train heavy. If you're a beginner, you might not want to go real heavy. So we covered those, and there's a number of, here he is with that, doing the lateral on the incline bench that I mentioned. He does like to do things differently, and I think he was even featured in the weird and unusual exercise video that I did have a penchant for that kind of stuff. And I think he just did that mostly to keep things fresh, to keep things, I think he enjoys training, and I think part of that enjoyment is to do different things, not to do the same old thing all the time. And I think Grimek did a lot of that. I think, as I'm going to mention here, that Grimek was, here he is in an inside cover ad, goes way back in the early Strength and Health. But he was in ads and articles and had his own column for a long time in Strength and Health. And I think he was, to Bob Hoffman and York Barbell, what Arnold Schwarzenegger later became to Joe Weider. Now here he is in La Culture Physique, Strength and Health, of course. He was on tons of Strength and Health and Muscular Development covers over the years. And had a long career and stayed pretty healthy, and was a good family guy. There he is in the bodybuilder, and there he is in the British Health and Strength, which was kind of their version of Strength and Health. And you see on there also Reeves and Reg Park and Bill Pearl and some other guys. But I think he was one of the iconic guys from the early days. I think, in fact, him, Reeves, and Park brought a new standard of especially mass back in those days, but for bodybuilding in those days. And Grimek certainly stayed with that and was very strong also, as a lot of those old bodybuilders were. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Please consider subscribing. Talk to you later.